Over 8,000 years ago, the people of Georgia discovered the secret of turning grapes into wine, making it the oldest known wine-producing region in the world. Each region, from Meskheti to Imereti, Racha to Kartli, contributes its own distinct wines to the rich tapestry of Georgian viticulture. All are known for their wines, except one, Meskheti, in the Samtre-Javareti region. Renowned in the past for producing some of Georgia's finest wines, Meskheti's vineyards thrived until the 16th century. The region's winemaking heritage faced a devastating blow when the Ottoman Empire occupied the land, leading to the disappearance of its once celebrated vineyards. For generations, the tradition of Meskheti wine seemed lost to history, the ancient grape varieties nearly forgotten. But today, a few local winemakers are on a mission to revive this legacy, to breathe new life into the vineyards of old Meskheti. These dedicated people are not just making wine, they're restoring a cultural heritage. Through painstaking efforts, they're recovering the grape varieties of old Meskheti, striving to bring back the flavors and traditions that once defined this illustrious wine region. Join us as we delve into the world of Meskhetian wine, exploring its ancient roots, the meticulous process of its revival, and the people who are determined to keep this timeless tradition alive. This is a story of passion, perseverance, and the enduring connection between a land and its people. This is a tale of Meskheti, the lost wine region of Georgia. The historical region of Meskheti has always been pivotal in the history of Georgia. Positioned at the border with Turkey, this area was a vital route for commerce, including the famed Silk Road, and a strategic pathway for invasions. It was here, at the turn of the 13th century, during the zenith of Georgian power, that King Tamar, the most famous and first female ruler of Georgia, achieved a decisive victory against large Muslim armies, solidifying Georgian sovereignty over an area that extended in parts of present-day Turkey and Armenia. During this era, the formidable cave city of Wadzia was constructed, and the practice of viticulture flourished. The hills became blanketed with endless rows of terrace wines. At that time, Meskhetian wine gained widespread acclaim, renowned even beyond the borders of Georgia. It is said that over 300 grape varieties were cultivated in the region, and that King Tamar's favorite wine was from Meskheti. Sadly, two successive blows ended this golden era of Meskhetian wine. First came the Ottoman occupation in the 16th century, lasting more than 400 years. This oppressive rule halted winemaking in the region. Many vineyards were destroyed, and the remaining ones were repurposed for table grape production. This period led to a significant portion of the local population converting to Islam, while others fled to other parts of Georgia, taking grape cuttings with them. Several grape varieties now associated with Meskheti and Imereti, such as Khirwi and Saperavi, are believed to have originated from Meskheti. After the area was conquered by the Russian Empire in the 19th century, the Soviet period delivered the final blow to Meskhetian winemaking, as viticulture was centralized in Meskheti, in eastern Georgia, while only some sparkling wine production was made in Meskheti, disregarding local varieties and traditions. The region is now going through a revival of its wine tradition, thanks to the work of a passionate man, Georgi Natenadze. To learn more about Meskhetian wine and Georgi's story, we drove all the way to Akhaltsikhe, the capital of the region. On the way, I was very surprised to discover how wild and beautiful Meskheti was, despite the terrible weather. I was supposed to meet Giorgi in Rabati Castle, a massive fortress complex with a beautiful mosque visible from far away. Georgi had a traditional Meskhetian restaurant inside the castle, where we joined him. Georgi Natenadze is an unusual character. His family has deep historical ties with the Meskheti region, and he proudly explained to me that his ancestors were banners bearers of King Tamar. He is passionate about his region and has worked his whole life to promote it, reviving its wine tradition, but also its gastronomy and old villages. Currently, Georgi is the only winemaker of importance in Meskheti, and it can be said that he is the first person to have made wine here in 400 years. He has recovered by himself 24 lost grape varieties in abandoned villages, restored forgotten wine terraces, and is currently helping new local winemakers to grow their own grapes and get started making wine. He was a real trailblazer. Some may have called him a madman at times, but he has started a movement that seems to accelerate with every year. I was interested in hearing about the reasons who drove him to do this in the first place.
The idea is coming from my father, who told me about how popular was Meskheti with winemaking before the 16th century, how many grape varieties were here, how it was going by the Silk Road all over the world. And so I decided to make some research, and my father at first helped me to give me the way, where to go, how to find, what to read, the books about it, and so on and so on. So every year I'm going in our old villages and also villages that disappeared, and there is some forest now and the wild nature, and I'm looking for these very endemic grape varieties. I go somewhere by foot because you can't go by car. I'm asking the population from the villages if they have been anywhere near some castles, churches, in the forest, if they have ever seen some grapes growing like a wild, and they give me the way where how to find them, how to go there, and then I'm making the GPS points on each of these places. Because, for example, if I don't know what kind of grape is it, I do the GPS point. I go there a second time when the grapes are already ripe there to see the grapes ripe, what kind of color and what kind of grape is it. And also take the leaves from there and send these leaves and grapes to the laboratory. I'm happy that today's Scientific Research Center of Georgia helps me to do this. And we can say that today we have already identified 24 grapes from this 300 which was lost, and we still continue doing this every year, searching, identifying, and hope in maybe in future 5 years we'll have more like 6-7 grapes that were lost and we are trying to identify now.
Georgi took me to see one of his treasured old vines that he has found across the years. The tree was unlike any vine I had ever seen. By an abandoned church, the massive trunk was growing freely around the tree, larger than any grapevine I had witnessed in my life. According to him, this one was 250 years old, an age I could barely believe. But it wasn't even the oldest he had discovered, with a majestic one being more than 400 years old, close to his home village, Jashari. The rare concentration of such old vines is a treasure, unique in the world, that Georgi is protecting. One way he does it is by publicizing the very existence of these old vines and making wine out of them. When asked about the grape varieties that he has found, he is particularly proud of one, called Tamarisvazi, Tamar's wine, in reference to the famous king of Georgia. It is the one that, for him, has the most potential to bring Meskheti back on the wine map.
By the legend, we know that this grape, Tamarisvazi, and the wine Tamari Swazi. It was King Tamar's favorite wine. So I found this grape in 2014. Then we needed more than 3 years to identify that it was really King Tamar's wine or not. We also have done some DNA tests and so on and so on. At last, by the knowledge from the old people who are living in our villages, and they know also from their ancestors that this grape really was King Tamar's wine, we give the name King Tamar's wine, and this is, I think, one of the best grape in our region for the winemaking. And it's the best wine for the aging potential, for the good sugar, and for the good alcohol, for the high acidity. This is one of the best red grape we have in our region.
Finding these old grape varieties was only the beginning of reviving the winemaking tradition of Meskheti. Indeed, the winemaking techniques and knowledge had long been lost, and it fell to Giorgi to rediscover the characteristics of these unique grapes and the best methods to make wine with them. Giorgi, lacking any formal background in winemaking, had to teach himself through extensive experimentation over the past 20 years. Despite these challenges, he is now gaining global recognition for the quality of his products.
Having to do everything from scratch because there was no textbook about that.
Yeah, and no knowledge about how our ancestors were making wines in this region. So everything is coming from my experiments and experience, because traditionally we know that how to make wine in quarry in Georgia, yes. So, but we don't know how they were making wine here in this region. It was by the skin contact or not. It was like a pressed and the juice was going for maceration or not. So that's why I decided to make many experiments about it. And the best that I found till now is to make wine with a long maceration with skin contact. So some of them, what I have here is 6 months, 8 months, and it depends on the stems, how many stems you are using, how much stems you are using for this process, and also you have to taste all of the stems and then decide to use or not.
Traditionally, Meskheti's vineyards were located in high-altitude terrace landscapes, above 1,000 meters high. These high terraces, often on volcanic soils, were most likely an important component of making Meskhetian wine so famous. However, nowadays, most of these terraces have disappeared a long time ago, reclaimed by nature. In order to revive the wine tradition of the region, Giorgi led a project to recover 23 hectares of these lost terraces, with 12 hectares already restored. The traditional grape varieties he has recovered are being multiplied there and are beginning to yield grapes, allowing him to make new wines out of this new terroir. Georgi Natenadze is also leading many other projects on the side. Knowing the region's history and culture, he is always promoting the attractivity of his home. Among these projects, 2 are particularly noteworthy: the promotion of Meskhetian traditional food and the restoration of the traditional Meskhetian village of Jashari.
While I'm here, and I think I'll be here in this region all the time, I'm thinking about projects about the region. So when we make a wine, very interesting is how the food, yes. So that's why I decided to make some research of the food as well, of traditional food recipes, and I'm trying in my restaurant here to make these recipes alive, and it's coming very good, and we have many visitors, especially for the food and wine. So from many countries, from Denmark, from Switzerland, from France, people are especially coming here to taste this local Meskhetian food and wine, which is absolutely like a different kind than any Georgian food. For example, here in our region, we have like very interesting pasta culture, and we do the food with pasta with many kind of ingredients, which is very interesting. And this is very, very old traditional food. We eat here snails, and no one in Georgia eating snails. That happens only in our region. That's why the logo of my restaurant is also the snail.
The restoration of the village of Jashari is the other important project that Georgi is undertaking, and which is particularly close to his heart, as his family is coming from there. Jashari is a historic village known for its deep cultural roots, particularly in winemaking, dating back to the era of King Tamar. The history of Jashari is inherently tied to the establishment of the cave city of Wadzia. Stories handed down tell that a key determinant to the location of Wadzia would be its proximity to a strong village, which would be able to supply the Georgian army with food and wine, while also remaining strategically hidden. For this reason, the cliff face that houses the cave city of Wadzia was chosen, and the village of Jashari would be there, strategically hidden in the valley directly behind it, to provision and support Wadzia and its inhabitants. Although currently abandoned, efforts are underway to restore Jashari and transform it into Georgia's first open-air living history museum. The revitalization project includes restoring historic buildings, offering unique accommodation, and traditional Meskhetian food.
The village from where I'm coming from, Jashari village, is very old. It's ancient village. All the village was making the wine for the King Tamar and King Tamar soldier. And there today we have 45 pressing rooms, grape pressing rooms in the caves, in the stones. It's cut it where it was pressed and taken out and it was put in animal skin, and it was taken to Wadzia caves where it was fermented in quarries. So by the legend, we know that they were taking only the juice of the grapes, and the skin of the grapes was left in this village. And they were making chacha, they were distilling this skin, chacha. That's why the name of the village was changed, and today it's Jashari. It means the door of the chacha, door of the grape skin that was distilled after there. And in the rooms you can see also the smoked walls where it was distilled as well.
After 20 years of incessant hard work, Georgi's efforts are now starting to yield results, attracting the interest of new people looking to make wine in Meskheti. This renewed interest of locals for their unique history and grape varieties has started a fast increasing movement of the region as a whole.
So there is very big interest from the population about the winemaking, about the grape growing. They already saw the result that I have done the rehabilitation of ancient wine terraces and have planted these 24 local grape varieties, which already grows there, and you can see the bottles, and you can see the result that I'm selling all these wines in 10, 12 different countries every year. And we have very good feedbacks from these countries. And of course, people are very interested to start making wine. And I am helping them to do this, and we have done the government program with the government to give this plants to the population. It's free, and study them how to plant, how to grow these grapes, how to make a wine, and how to make a good harvest, and so on and so on. So it needs time, but I think in the near future, 4, 5, 6 years, new winemakers will come from this region, and we have many small different wineries and wine plantations in different parts of my region.
Thanks to Georgi Natenadze's relentless dedication, Meskheti is on the brink of reclaiming its former glory and reviving its storied winemaking heritage. Nestled in the breathtaking landscapes of high-altitude vineyards and ancient terrace hills, this often overlooked region is a hidden gem with a wealth of offerings for the adventurous traveler and wine enthusiast alike. Meskheti is likely home to the world's highest number of ancient grapevines, and possibly the oldest still producing grapes. These unique vines yield wines that are not just beverages, but a liquid history, capturing the essence of centuries-old traditions. Each sip tells a story of resilience, passion, and the unyielding spirit of a community determined to restore its cultural legacy. As new winemakers emerge in Meskheti, we will truly discover the potential of these newly rediscovered grape varieties. Their innovative approaches and fresh perspectives will undoubtedly lead to the creation of new wines that will enrich the global wine world. The fusion of ancient practices and modern techniques promises an exciting future for Meskheti wines, inviting connoisseurs and casual drinkers alike to experience the unique flavors and stories they offer. Whether you're exploring the lush volcanic soil terraces or savoring the distinctive flavors of these rare wines, Meskheti promises an unforgettable journey into the heart of Georgian winemaking.